There are some characters in this game that destroy your ability to play the game. I think Taki's one of them. The most egregious example is 2B. Maxie's up there with Raph too. The reason for this is these rushdown characters, especially in Soul Calibur 6, a lot of times they can just Zas is up there too. When you're playing these characters, you can just come up with setups and flowcharts that will allow you to do really well. And I don't when I say these characters make you worse, I'm not saying these characters are bad, and I'm not saying you'll just stop winning with these characters, because you absolutely will win when you play with them. However, they create a lot of bad habits, and beyond that, because you're playing so many games, if you play too many of these games with these characters, you just lose the ability to defend yourself. To other aspects of your gameplay suffer and atrophy. And I notice this myself. When I play too much Taki, my gameplay suffers. I was in a lobby last night with Joe. He was streaming. And we had a few people, but this Taki was one of them. And while I am showing these games slightly out of order, you can see that this guy does a lot of stuff that is very not good, in my opinion. You can tell that he's very good at Taki. You can tell that he has practiced the shit out of Taki. You can tell that he knows this character inside and out. However, how he's choosing to play isn't gonna work. It works in this in these first two games that I show. It's absolutely gonna work. But this is him just doubling down on setups and flowcharts, and this is something that you definitely notice from console players, because the problem with console is there's added frame delay, and because of that added frame delay, you end up with these really bad setups, like what he's doing. What he was just doing right there is he was running at me for 75, 80 frames, and then going for a mix-up. While that does have a place, that can surprise someone every now and again, you can't just rely on that. That's not just a mix-up tool running at someone like that. That's not going to work, especially on PC. That'll catch somebody out once, maybe twice, and it caught me out once, maybe twice. It caught Joe out once or twice, but after a while, I mean, we just started jabbing this guy out of it. Basically just like saying, hey, knock it off. That's not going to work. But the problem I have with the way this guy plays is he just has 5 to 7 setups, which are good setups, that he rotates between. But then there's just nothing else. He's trying to avoid neutral entirely with these setups, which is something that you see console players doing all the time. And that's because that works. That absolutely works on console, because you just can't react to it in time. However, and I've never played this game offline. I'm probably never gonna play this game offline. That doesn't. These setups don't even work on PC. Just because there's slightly less frame delay. But in these first two games, I don't know the setups yet. And he just absolutely demolishes me. Absolutely demolishes me. But once I stop allowing him to do that and actually enforce frames against him, it's just over. I mean, you can see, you'll see him get counter hit, and then just stand there statue blocking, not really knowing what to do. And that's what I'm talking about with other aspects of your gameplay suffering because of these characters. Now I don't know if this guy can adapt. We only played 4 games. I'm hoping he can, but again, only played 4. That's a very bad soul charge. I basically just put myself in a 50-50 there. But we only played 4 games, so I have no idea if he can adapt or not. I'm hoping the answer to that question is yes. But all I saw during these 4 games was the first game. I actually beat him, which is, I'm going to show the first game next. But after that first game, for the next 3, he just double, triple, quadrupled down on running these setups. And setups absolutely have a time and a place in the game, in your game plan. They absolutely do, and they can be used very well. However, you cannot substitute setups for playing neutral. You cannot just avoid neutral and frames entirely by relying on setups. It's just not going to work. It just does not work, period. But that's only at like higher levels of play. You absolutely can just run a group of setups against a majority of the people who play this game. And setups will catch everyone a few times. They absolutely will. They absolutely will. However, you cannot rely on only those setups. And you see, once I counter hit him, he just statue blocks. He stands there because he's not sure what to do. Because he's used to it always being his turn, and that's sort of what you see when someone mains either 2B, Taki, or Maxi, or sometimes Zas, is these people just never learned how to play neutral, or have forgotten how to play neutral, have forgotten that frames can be enforced against them. But in almost every situation, you see this Taki, he just will sidestep A6. That's it. That's what he does. He will run a string that on hit back turns his opponent, and then A6. That's all. That's it. That's what he does. And that doesn't work. Past a certain point, that is no longer viable. I make a mistake here. Sort of my one piece of the new Mitsu tech that I've been working on is the 1A lethal hit combo, ending with 4-4-BA, and that specifically is not going to work on Taki or maybe X. And he went for it again, right there. Sidestep. He went for sidestep A6. But that different combo route is going to specifically not work against Taki. He went for it again, and as soon as he got counter hit, he just stood there and statue blocked. I even did a slow transition between Mitsu's 2 stances. Right here, he's gonna do that kick, and I just the prone B plus K, and I just wait for it because he's gonna hang himself with it. Which is, you know, It's definitely one of Taki's setups, but it fits the bill of like ignorant Taki shit. Whenever I do prone B plus K, I feel a little dirty inside. And I play Taki too, I get it. But right there, just as an example, he has done minus 16 3B for Oki 3 times in a row. So he does it a 4th time and boom, gets punished for it. And right there, at the end, I know he's going to statue block. I didn't finish the Shura Blade lethal hit throw combo because I was not sure if it would leave Taki back turned or not. And if you 1BB prone Taki, the prone B plus K kick is free against Mitsu. So I didn't finish that combo, and instead, I guess he ducked into 6-6 BBB, and then I knew, since he had gotten hit, that he was going to statue block, and he did. And that just won me the game. Now after, that right there was the first game that we played, and after that he doubled down and then tripled down on this sort of flowchart setup stuff that he's doing. And then in the final game, I have finally said to myself, okay, I know exactly how to beat this, so let's just do that. And the results are gonna speak for themselves, I think. I still make mistakes in this game because I'm not as good as I could be. But the reason why I picked these games to show is because of the way that this guy is playing. And he could adapt. I have no idea if he's capable of adapting, because we only played 4 games. It was late. I was tired before we even got to this lobby. I had to go to bed. I'd like to play him again to see if he can adapt. I think that there's a ton of Taki specific stuff that I could learn from this guy. However, that does not change the fact that he's doing a lot of stuff that's not just fake, it's very fake. Like option selectable fake. Like A6 into 6B plus K, it's I-14 punishable. Just because. All the time. Forever. Right there, his only option was possession B plus K, and that was a good option. I would have wrung myself out even if he hadn't have hit me at the very end there. But you just see, sidestep, A6, sidestep, A6, and I'm just counter hitting it over and over and over again. He went for it right there. Went for it again, 2A, and you know, whenever he's getting counter hit 2-3 times in a row, then he freezes up. Because he doesn't know how to play defensively, because he rarely has to. Because people are either unprepared or unfamiliar with the kind of setups that he's doing. And that's the problem with those sorts of characters that I listed. And right there, it worked out for me, because I did a vertical. If I had done AA, which I should have, would have been my turn again. Now, don't get me wrong. It feels like I'm just, see right there, I-14 punishable. That right there, option selected. If he had done A6 and not followed up with anything, he was minus 14. If he had done A6 into any of the stance stuff, he's at least minus 14. There's no way out of it. He's doing an option selectable string. It's just a reaction check. Now it feels like I'm just shit talking this guy, but I'm not. He's very good. He's very good at Taki. You can tell that he's very good at Taki. He knows her moves. He's very practiced. However, the way that he is playing, it's just not going to work. It's going to work on online console because of the added frame delay, but that's it. I'd like to play him again. I'd like to see if he can actually adapt and actually play neutral. Because like I said, we only played 4 games. All I got to see was him doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down on doing setups in his flowchart. I'd like to see how good he really is. But GG's. Definitely fun games, and definitely something to be learned from these games is you cannot just rely on these setups and these option selectable strings. They're not going to work. Once they don't even work against me, and I'm not even good. They can catch me by surprise. They caught Joe by surprise. I'm sure he catches some of the best players out there by surprise. But once that surprise fades, I'd be interested to know if he's got an actual game plan or if he just has a different setup that comes next. But honestly, I think they're all punishable. All the setups he's gonna run are gonna be punishable. Nevertheless, GG's, and be careful for all you Taki, 2B, Maxi, Zast players out there. Try playing a character that has to play neutral every once in a while, and build up, or even just play your favorite character, your main character here. Just try it a little differently sometimes, and play a little neutral. That means not just going for frame traps and setups. And I bet you, if this is something you care about, if it's not, then just have fun. I'm just some schmuck here, but try playing them just a little different, and see how these characters perform with a little neutral. And I think you might just see your gameplay skyrocket in terms of effectiveness. Because this is something I see in my own play. If I play too much Taki, I want to watch this again. If I play too much Taki, my gameplay suffers. I get worse if I exclusively play Taki. My movement gets slower. My reactions slow down. Because I'm not having to react to things. I'm not having to move because I can just go from one move into the next. Now that being said, playing these characters does help you in one specific way. Taki is very useful for me in watching what my opponent does and then being aware of how they react to certain things. Because the way I play Taki, I did a whole video on this. The way I play Taki is I will do string mix-ups. And the point of these string mix-ups is that I watch what my opponent is doing, and then based on that, I mix things up. So playing Taki helps teach me to pay attention to my opponent, to be mindful of what my opponent is doing, what buttons he or she wants to hit, instead of just my own. Similarly, if I play too much Mitsu in exclusion of everything else, then I just kind of stop paying attention to what my opponent is doing. I'm only concerned about, hey, I am getting my punishes, I am doing my movement, etc. So playing exclusively Mitsu is just as detrimental for me as exclusively playing Taki. It's just detrimental in a different way. So if you want to get really good at this game, you definitely need to play more than one character, in my opinion. There might be characters out there that can teach you both of those things, or you might just be a more functional human being than I am, and you can do all of those things while playing a single character. That's fine. But boom, option select. He's doing option selectable strings. And so long as you're ready for the reaction check, I mean, he's just gonna... I'm at negative frames. I'm at highly negative frames and just throwing out horizontal jabs because all he's trying to do is sidestep A6. That's it. So this guy, this is just like a cautionary tale. This guy clearly has more practice than I do, and he clearly knows his characters better than I do. However, the way he's playing in these 4 games is just fundamentally flawed, and I don't think it works. Then again, last time I'm gonna say it, we only played 4 games. I don't know if he can actually play neutral, because he didn't in those 4 games. But GG's nonetheless. I'd definitely like to play this guy again.